There's no reaching the...
Hang on, guys. There's something we have to do really quick before we do this, before this fight. Hang on. I gotta go into the gameplay, and we're gonna go into the combat preset. We're gonna turn it into storyteller. I'm gonna turn the prevent death on so that I can't die. Hang on. And here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go back into the combat, and I'm gonna turn around.
What are they doing?
So I can't see.
Make them stop.
I'm afraid sometimes the weaker dead work themselves into frenzies.
Hang on.
Nice takedown.
Will dog time.
Hang on. Let's open this up and let's do like this. And I think he's gonna be over here. And then I don't know if I can do anything here. And then we're gonna do this. Are we done? Hang on. I still hear combat.
I must free that bell.
Need some help?
Thank you.
Are we done?
The star, the bell, can banish these despair spirits if we unchain it.
Are we done? Guys, the combat in Dragon Age the Veilguard is so easy. I can do it without even looking at the screen. The Kotaku review, I've seen multiple reviews now where people have done that. They've like closed their eyes and done the combat, or they turned away and done the combat, and then they make a claim that the combat in Dragon Age Veilguard sucks and it's easy mode. And I'm like, the whole point of having a God mode and an easy storytelling mode is so that players have absolute agency to be able to play the game how they want and to get the experience out of the game that they want. And there is nothing wrong with that. You can have, if you want to turn on the nightmare difficulty and get one-shotted and have to pay attention to the resists and everything else, then you could totally do that. But I think one of the coolest features for me with Dragon Age Veilguard has been the abilities and be able to adjust the difficulty. Yeah, exactly, Commander Wolf. I love that they have the option because disabled people get a chance to play a game for the first time that doesn't brutalize them or penalize them for having a disability or being handicapped. I don't know the proper terminology for that, so I apologize in advance if I'm saying it incorrectly, so no offense to anyone out there. Chris and I were on a walk this morning, and I was telling her about the fact that you had God mode in this game, and she was like, oh, so someone like me could play it and actually beat the game? And I was like, absolutely. Someone like you who has never played video games before, other than her brief foray into like Red Dead Online and EverQuest 2 and stuff, I was like, you could pick up a controller having never used a controller in your life and play this game and have fun in this game and beat this game, even though you're not any good with controls and you don't know about button pressing and combos and all this other stuff. Like, that's the beauty of combat difficulty. So I think to make fun of the fact that this game has scaling difficulty is one of the most disingenuous things I've seen coming out of the reviewers who have chosen to try to make that point about the combat in this game, because you can literally go into the settings at any point in time and change that difficulty to whatever it is that you want. Other than, I think once you're in the game, you can't go to, you're not allowed to go to Nightmare difficulty. You have to choose to start the game in Nightmare, and then you can't change it away from Nightmare once you've on that Nightmare run. And once you're in the game, you can't go to Nightmare mode. You can only go from Underdog to Custom. So, you know, having that option there for people is a brilliant thing. But I did think that was a funny thing to kind of poke at this morning, because when I told Chris, she literally was like, you should make a video of you playing. You should make a video of yourself doing the combat with your face turned around so that you're not even facing the screen. And I was like, oh, I totally should, because that's brilliant. That's a brilliant take on, like, Kotaku and other places that have said the combat is face roll, easy, etc. Because you get to choose what the combat is in this game. Pandatech says the combat gets better and better as the game went on. Oh yeah, and I played on normal mode and died lots. And I had to turn the parry rating down because I suck so bad at like reaction-based gameplay, which is why I can't play like Elden Ring. I just can't. Because it's too hard for me. And there's nothing wrong with something being too hard for someone. Like, admitting that something is too hard for you is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of recognizing your strengths in the areas where it's just not worth it for you. It's like, I like story, and that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to, die 500 times. Commander says, I love the Dark Souls experience in Elden Ring. It's brutal, but somewhere, I don't know, I feel like somewhere around Dark Souls 3 release, every game had to be impossibly difficult or something. It feels so dumb. What's up, Bubbalonia? Lily Wren says, I just finished this game as a less than coordinated 55-year-old gamer, and I love the fact that you can change the playstyle. Hector says, same, I'm 53 and loving the game. Yeah, guys. I think that, looking at recent releases like Star Wars Outlaws, even older games like No Man's Sky. Oh, my wife just brought me food. Do you want to try? You want to try some combat? Yeah, my real wife. She's not a paid actor. She just said. Thank you. I will take a little salt, honey. Oh shit, that was a lot of salt. I didn't. Oh, that's not the Himalaya salt. That's all right. Yeah. I'll figure that out. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's fine. Thank you. Thank you for breakfast, baby. Yep, thank you. Huh? Yeah, I was showing what we were talking about this morning. I put it on God mode and I turned away and looked at the... As she's saying, it's easy for her. She could actually play this game and enjoy it. Yeah. Like we were talking about this morning on our walk. Love you. Thank you for breakfast. Am I going for the secret ending this time? I mean, if I can get to it, sure. I'm not necessarily... I mean, I'm assuming I'll get it because I'm going to try to do like a completionist run this time around. Humanity Peak says, I think Souls games should have adaptive difficulty mode. Like if you die to an enemy a certain amount of times, the game makes the enemy less reactive. That way anyone can still experience it. There is a game that does that. And I can't remember what it is. I totally played a game in the last couple of years that's like an RPG that has like this adjustable difficulty, scaling difficulty. Like the more time you fail at something, they make the boss mobs... Oh, it's Baldur's Gate. Isn't it Baldur's Gate 3? When you do multiplayer in Baldur's Gate 3? Maybe it's not. I totally have played a game in the last couple of years though where like the more times you fought against something and you died, it would lower the difficulty for you. Maybe it was one of the Final Fantasy VII remakes? I wish I could remember now. I know that MLB The Show does that. MLB The Show has a... that baseball game has a dynamic difficulty that scales based on your performance. So if you're doing better, it ups the difficulty, and if you're doing worse, it lowers the difficulty. Always trying to find that sweet spot for you so that you feel properly challenged when you're playing, but you can adjust it to your preference. Yes, Hector. The point of entertainment is so that anyone can dip their toe in. Gatekeeping is false elitism. Yeah, so food for thought. But I thought that was too funny. After Chris and I were taking the walk this morning, it was too funny not to make that video this morning. I'm sure I'll get some flack for it, but I think that player agency is key in not just 2024, but just as games continue to evolve. So I'm happy for games like Starfield and No Man's Sky and other games that allow you to, Minecraft, going into creative mode and choosing what level. Like my nephew's a good example. He likes to play in creative mode, but when we play together with my nephew, my brother and I, we played on normal mode, the survival mode, and he gets very frustrated when he dies and all his stuff gets left on his corpse. Like he gets full on like, "Rah!" And then he'll get mad and you know, we have to go back and get his stuff, and he wants vengeance, you know, and it's nice for him to have that challenge from time to time, but he also can willingly and at any point in time, like our niece has tried to play with us a few times, and she's younger, she's almost 7, and she very much, if she dies, she just doesn't want to play anymore. So for her to get the most enjoyment out of Minecraft, she plays in creative mode. Because then she doesn't have to worry about getting killed, and she can go forth and have fun and play the game. And that is the most important thing, being able to get the experience that you want out of a game and not having to beat your head against something.